Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called The Cost of Silence. Years ago, I was a peasant working for the king of burgers. I was the guy everyone went to whenever there was a problem. Even the managers would come to me if they didn't know how to do something. This led me to chime in on things when I thought it was appropriate, fixing problems before they even became problems. Now, even though they would come to me as soon as there was a problem, more than half the time if I brought up a problem, I was told to shut up or mind my own business. This went on for a while, before I came up with my malicious compliance. I simply stopped talking at all. If I really needed to say something, like if they came and asked for my help, I would write it down. This set off my manager to no end. For a week she kept asking me to start talking again, and I would simply write down, "You all told me to shut up," and would leave it at that. The day finally came to break the vow of silence when one of our delivery drivers crashed a handcart into a wall, smashing a good part of the wall. I tried to act it out to my manager, but she wasn't having it, kept telling me to just say it, so I finally told her. She immediately jumped down my throat with, "You need to say something if you see something like this happen." To which I replied, "You are the one who wanted me to shut up." Never was told to shut up again while I worked there. The next story is called Need to Resign. I used to work at a grocery store. It was in the smallish beachside community that had a lot of terrace and summer homes. I chose the store because they were all about finding long-time workers and had a little bonus and salary boost for those who finished the probationary period. I had just finished school and planned on taking a gap year, so it worked out well in my mind. I started about 2 months before summer and it was nice. We had a base of co-workers that worked well with each other. Mostly middle-aged women and some pensioners. I found out quickly that the smoke break was for gossiping about the others, and sometimes I took part when clients or other co-workers set me off. It was the usual daily thing. I was told from day one that the manager didn't care about us because she was also the manager at a bigger store. The rule was if you had someone to cover you, it was fine to do whatever. Some took hour-long breaks, some drank during the job. But I was trying to make a good impression on my first job in the town, so I never did anything like that. Since I didn't have that much social life, I always changed shifts when someone was needed and also came in if someone was sick. I even stocked the end chairs, which was the shift manager's job. When the pensioners asked in the middle of the day to change assignments cause their back hurts from stocking, I was always okay with it. And they were really thankful. One of them, let's call her Lydia, was actually a neighbor and friends with my grandparents, so we used to hang out during lunch breaks and she even comforted me when I had a panic attack. We used to ride home together on our bikes if we finished together. She kinda took me under her wings and used to call me her rock granddaughter. Things kinda took a turn once summer started. Usually we had about 1,000 euros per 2 registers. Now it was suddenly 2,000 per one. They also hired summer workers who were 3 16-year-old stock boys, one being the manager's son. I don't want to sound like an old-timer cursing the work ethics of children, but they were literally playing some tank games on their phone on the store floor while they had a cart full of stuff that they needed to put out in front of them. Not to mention the not checking of days, shoving old stuff in the back and new in the front, not checking if the barcode matched the price tag's barcode. What really set me off was that they were pigs when using the bathroom. Management made it my job to clean after them. I was told I couldn't say anything to call them out, so it became my everyday duty to clean the toilets. Because the cleaner only came in the morning. Then the self-service checkouts came. I was the only cashier there when the builders put them in. So it became my duty to train the others, including management and the 2 60+ somethings. Lydia took it easy. The old man literally refused to learn. So now, every day, either me or Lydia had to be in the store because the old man refused. So I had a lot on my shoulders. Things went down after I got my vaccine at the start of August. I had 2 days off. I figured I wouldn't get that sick, cause I already had it. It was about a week or so before my probation period ended. So on Monday I felt terrible and called in. It was the first time during the whole time I worked there. I called in with the manager. She said, "You have to come in. Lydia is on vacation and the only other worker who knows how to work the self-checkout is already sick. And you didn't give us proper notice." I tried to argue that I have a fever of 39 and feel like crap. But no, I have to come in. So I get my stuff together and go to work, scrubbing the toilet floor with a fever, dealing with customers with a fever. Yes, I took more breaks. Most co-workers asked me why I looked so bad and I told them I was sick. At the end of the day, I go home. The next day I feel even worse. So I called in again and say, no, I can't come. It was the first time I took a stand and said I can't destroy my health. Fine, you'll call Lydia and tell her. If she agrees, then you have to take sick leave. Okay, not really my job, but fine. I called her, woke her up, apologized profusely and told her the situation. She understood, wished me to feel better and hung up. I called my doctor and got on sick leave and then informed my manager. Then I went back to sleep. I got a call a few hours later. It's Lydia. You make everyone's life so difficult here. Come in and give in your resignation. She isn't the manager, she's just a cashier like me. I asked what the heck and she told me that they had been talking on the smoke break with all the shift managers and the main manager, and apparently they decided I complained too much about my health and about other workers. I asked why my manager didn't call me. She had no real explanation. I said that if the manager wants to fire me, she would have to call me herself. I got no call. So 2 hours later I called her myself. I asked what was going on. She tells me it's true, I need to resign from my position. I ask why they don't just terminate me as I'm still on probation. We can't cause you're on sick leave. That doesn't really make sense. During the probation period they can fire me with no notice, no reasoning. I'm fuming at this time. Fine, I'll come in with my 39-degree fever. Got on my bike and pedaled the 3 kilometers. Everyone is giving me dirty looks. The manager gives me a filled out paper stating I quit on the day for personal reasons. I asked, so you can fire me cause I'm on sick leave? I need to resign? The manager says yes, it's too much paperwork to fire me, she doesn't have the time for that. Okay, deal. I take out a blank piece of paper, write my quitting date as 2 weeks from now to be polite and give them the proper notice. The manager was fuming and argued I can't do that. I said that's the time frame I need to give them, according to my contract. She was too lazy to argue more. I signed the sheet and walked out. I called my doctor the next morning and talked about my sick leave. A few days later, the manager calls me again. Tomorrow is the big town fair. I'm definitely not sick anymore and have to come in tomorrow as they are super short-staffed. I said that I'm on sick leave. She said I can still be feeling bad and have to get into work right now. I told her no, my sick leave ends on the day after my resignation date. She got super mad and said that if I didn't come to work, she'd have to be on the register the whole day. To that I just coughed fakely and said, well, have fun, and hung up. I spent the 2 weeks on the beach on paid sick leave and also my probation lapsed, so they had to pay me the bonus. The third story is called 5 points each. In high school I went to a very small Christian private school that was trying to grow into a K-12, but at the time of this story it only had up to 10th grade. I was a 9th grader. They had just hired a new Spanish teacher for the high school that year. This guy had no teaching qualifications whatsoever. The only reason they hired him is that Spanish was his first language and he was a Christian. He was an extremely poor teacher, very disorganized. The school had bought a Spanish curriculum for him to use, but he just spent the days kind of stumbling through it at a slow pace without any structure or good reinforcement. As a result, none of us were able to learn very much Spanish in the 2 years we were all forced to be in his class. No one respected him, from the class clowns to the smart kids. He wasn't great at translating Spanish to English. When the word puntual, pronounced differently in Spanish, came up, he asked us to tell him what it means. I answered punctual with the English pronunciation. He tried to correct my pronunciation, not understanding me. I explained to him, punctual, it means on time. He was completely surprised and had no idea English had the word punctual too. One day he gave us a pop quiz as usual and had us trade papers to grade each other as usual. It was a basic quiz, he wrote words on the board and rewrote the translation. But today there were 20 words instead of the usual 10. So he did some math and said, let's see, 20 questions, so 0.5 each. All of the students looked at each other, having the same idea. No one corrected his English, we simply graded the test, only removing half a point for each incorrect answer. If you got everything wrong, you made a 90, which was still an A. When he got the tests back, he didn't look at the answers, just the grades. He said, what happened? You all passed? No, you must be cheating. No sir, we graded them just like you said, 5 points each. We all repeated his instructions exactly. He still didn't catch it, he just shook his head confused and moved on. His own fault for not grading them himself or being clear with his instructions. We were just maliciously complying. The last story is called No Alcohol. Back when I was in high school, I was someone that really walked the line of breaking the rules, but not actually. Our student handbook, which we all had to sign, said that we can't bring any alcohol or tobacco to school, obviously. That's fine, but nowhere does it say that I cannot bring any drinks that mimic alcohol, such as non-alcoholic beer. So yes, one day I brought a case of non-alcoholic beer and limes to school. I used my student card to cut the line, popped a bottle of Heineken non-alcoholic beer and flipped her over. I did all of this during my teacher's lesson, and somehow he didn't notice. Eventually though, he walks by and notices the drink. His face went red, and I guess the fact that it was non-alcoholic meant nothing, because I still ended up in the principal's office. When the principal got there, she wasn't mad, but wasn't impressed either. The vice principal also saw it, and to be honest, I think he found it funny based on his reaction. So there we were, in the principal's office. She was ready to suspend me, because she said non-alcoholic beer actually has 0.05% alcohol. Trace amounts, but alcohol nonetheless. When she told me this, I told her to check again. She looked at the bottle, and lo and behold, 0.00% alcohol. I felt like they were playing checkers and I was playing chess. This was completely premeditated, and prior to me purchasing it, I knew 100% that I needed to find 0.00% or else I wouldn't have done it. Due to the content being absolute zero, they let me off with detention and told me that they will be changing the student's handbook to reflect any alcoholic beverage mimicking. Things almost got messy though when the principal said that she accused me of bringing a knife to school, because how else would I have cut the limes? Either way, I had my bases covered and they couldn't find anything to throw at me. I really walked the line and survived. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.